Welcome to Your Next Bold Move. Our show is all about helping you take your next step, whether it's career or relationships or life in general. Hello and welcome to Your Next Bold Move. My name is Wendy Kaplan. Today's show is focused on increasing your professional impact and influence while dealing with key decision makers at work. We call these people key stakeholders. My guest today is Michele Gravelle. Michele is a corporate trainer who works for me in my company, Vision Quest Consulting, and she has developed and delivered leadership training programs for corporations and their leaders for many, many years. I'm happy to have you back, Michele.
Thank you, Wendy. I'm delighted to be back.
Well, this is part two, right? We did
Yes.
part one last month on strategic decision making and getting ourselves prepared to present and position to know what's important to us.
Right.
And this show, we're going to take that and take it to the next level and sort of the next step.
Exactly. And so today we're going to look at how do you prepare for those important key stakeholder conversations.
So let's get
Yes.
started.
All
We're
right.
going to use me as the guinea pig
Yes,
again.
we are. Yeah. So
Right.
tell me a little bit about the situation and kind of who some of the players are.
So I met a great woman recently at a networking event, and she's in charge of a new, brand new startup called the Women's Forum in a university. Mm-hmm. And I got very jazzed about it, and I'd like to work with her as she continues to build this out.
Yeah. So this tool was developed actually, some colleagues of mine and I were involved in a labor negotiation with a big union about 2 years ago, and we kept presenting a contract and the union leader kept saying no, 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 and we kept, go back to our hotel room every night and go, why are they saying no? And we scribbled on, napkins and Kleenex and everything in the hotel room, and we came up with this very simple chart, and it's been incredibly powerful. And I want to use this with Jane because it's a really helpful way to put yourself in Jane's shoes and imagine how she might view you and the conversation with you. So Jane is our key stakeholder that we're talking about right now.
Right.
And what is your proposal or request to Jane?
I'd love to be part of the faculty of this university and a key person for helping to develop this brand new thing.
I'd like to be on faculty. Okay. So here's the most important thing of filling this out is to remember and to sort of take into consideration Jane has lots of motives, right? Lots of things are inspiring her, motivating her. Again, we fill this out from Jane's perspective. If we're Jane right now, we're going to channel Jane.
Alrighty.
So she sees Wendy coming to her office. Here comes Wendy. She's going to sit and talk to me. And you ask her, you say, Jane, I would really like to be on the faculty of this university. What's the benefit for Jane to say yes to you?
She gets my corporate connections.
Okay, great.
And network.
Great. So she gets Wendy's corporate expertise.
Yep.
Okay. And what's another value added? What's another benefit to her to say yes?
I've already done a lot of the development of things that she could just take and bring in. So programming.
Okay, great. Program development, that's complete.
Yeah.
Right? All right, so now there might be some downsides. If she says yes to you, what might be a risk for her to say yes to your request?
She might be putting all of her eggs in one basket.
Okay.
And that might not be a good thing for her.
She might not want to rely on one person. What's another risk for her?
She hasn't really clarified the vision and the mission of this program.
So it may be premature to add Wendy to curriculum. And then I'll put one more on here, which might be because she is new, she may feel the need to stick with what the university has already chosen in the past. So if she says yes to you, she'd be going against the grain or sort of shaking up the status quo, let's say.
Yes.
Shaking status quo. So what's the upside for her to say no? What's the value that she gets by turning you down?
Well, she hasn't made a commitment.
She doesn't have to make a decision, right? So no decision, no commitment, right? That makes it easier.
Yeah.
Yep. She gets to maintain status quo. And what's another upside for her to say no? For her, it might feel like job security, right? That she has her marching orders in this position.
I hadn't thought of that.
And by not doing anything that's too new or avant-garde, then she feels like she's a little bit more secure.
And she hasn't ruffled any feathers.
Yeah, she's not proposing too many changes.
Right,
right?
In the beginning.
No big changes. So let's move over to the last column. What's the downside
if she says
if
no?
she says no?
I'd be a really good resource for helping her figure out what she wants to do and how she wants to move forward. So I'd be a great thought partner, so she'd lose me as a thought partner.
Okay, great. Not to mention...
Well, I'll go and do this somewhere else. So if I don't do it here, I'm going to do it somewhere else.
Right, so she's creating competition, essentially. So she's creating competition. Which of these columns do we think is driving Jane's behavior the most? So most of the time when we go ask someone, a stakeholder, when we ask them for something, we want them to see the benefit. Like, well, I've got lots of corporate expertise, and I've got ready-made programs, and I've got a huge network. Like, it's a no-brainer. Of course you would say yes. Most of the time, though, people are not motivated by this first column. This is what motivates us.
Right, that is so true.
Yes.
Right.
Often, they're motivated by one of these other three columns.
My hunch is that the column that's driving her most would be what's the downside to saying yes.
Yeah.
I don't think she's tempted to say no yet because she's sort of creative and exploring and so forth. And I'm not sure whether she cares about, at this moment, about lost opportunity or not having my expertise or any of that stuff, because she doesn't know enough about that. And
so you think this one is
not that relevant.
okay?
I think the most relevant, if yes, the downside to saying yes.
Okay. Again, this is a hunch, right? We don't know, but
Right.
you're guessing, but it gives us a little bit of an educated guess. So now, given this viewpoint, Jane's viewpoint, how might you reframe or recraft your proposal to Jane to take into consideration this new insight? What might you propose or request of her that would sound differently?
Well, I might offer that we start working together on a very part-time, limited basis just to see if we like each other and whether what I've got is what she needs and vice versa. So start small.
Yeah.
So maybe instead of being on faculty, maybe my proposal is being an advisory board member or something.
That's great. So now, if this is take one, take two would be the revised proposal. I'd like to be on the advisory board. Now, you know, again, if we had
Now you
time,
have to do if yes, if no.
exactly,
Same thing
right?
we've
so
just
if
done.
yes, if no, benefits and risks to this. And my guess is it'd be much easier for her to say yes to this
I would say
than
that
to
that's
the
right.
faculty position.
Right.
So now that you've looked at this, you've reframed this a little bit, you could now take your revised request or proposal to her and say, you know what, Jane, I really appreciate that you have so many choices. You have so many people who are coming to you, who want to work
Right.
with you, and here are some things that I can offer. Here are some things that you've already offered to me. Let's talk a little bit about working together in the future, and then weave that into your conversations.
So it's just great. So thank you for watching today, and you've just had a chance to hear Michele Gravelle talk about increasing our ability to get what we want from key stakeholders and key decisions that we have. And I'm hoping that it gave you a template and a structure to increase your effectiveness personally or at work. Thank you so much for joining us today. And in addition to the resources and ideas shared by our guests, you can go online to both of our websites and join our community for some free support and inspiration. We can be found at visionquestconsulting.com and themagicparties.com, where you'll find everything you need to help you figure out what's next and what might be your next bold move. A big thank you again today to our guest, Michele Gravelle, for being with us. And thanks to you, our listeners. You are meant to go forth in the world to use your gifts and talents.